All right. We're diving into channel partner programs today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how to make them really work and how training can make or break them.
For sure, for sure.
We've got this guide we're going through. It breaks the whole thing down into 6 stages.
Okay.
And each stage, it digs into how important training is.
Right.
Luckily, we've got you here. You've built some really successful partner programs.
Yeah, I've been lucky to work on a few. It's always a learning experience.
Oh, absolutely. So this guide jumps right in, talking about all the different types of partners.
Yeah,
You've got installers and resellers,
right. The boots on the ground.
and you've got integrators,
Yeah.
consultants. Why is it so important to know who's who right from the start?
See, it's like each partner, they're coming at it from a different angle, different priorities.
Yeah.
Your training, it has to resonate with what they're trying to accomplish.
Right, it can't be one size fits all.
Exactly.
Okay, so the guide jumps into stage 1 recruit,
Okay.
and they hit us with a crazy stat. 72% of partners have trouble connecting what a company offers
Wow.
with what buyers actually need.
That's a disconnect.
It's huge. Imagine a sales team that doesn't even know why someone would want their product.
Yeah, that's not a recipe for success.
Not at all. So what's the solution? What does the guide say?
It's all about finding those partners right from the get-go who are the right fit.
Okay.
Not just anyone will do. They talk about self-selection, and it's kind of brilliant. Put everything out in the open, up front. Here are the types of partnerships. This is the training involved.
No surprises.
Exactly. The partners who are serious, who get it, they'll be drawn in.
It's like weeding out the ones who aren't a good match.
Right from the start. Yeah.
Smart. Okay, so we've got our awesome partners. They're ready to learn.
They're eager.
The guide jumps to stage 3 education.
Gotcha.
And they're adamant that training, it can't just be a one-time thing. It's got to be ongoing.
Oh, 100%. The landscape changes so fast. New products, new challenges. You've got to keep everyone up to speed.
Absolutely. What happens when you don't, though? They lay out some pretty serious consequences.
Oh, yeah. You start missing sales. Customers aren't happy because they aren't getting the right info.
Support costs go through the roof.
It's a domino effect. Training, it's not just about knowledge, it's about protecting your business.
For sure. But how do you keep partners engaged in the training? How do you make it something they're actually excited about?
You've got to make it fun. Recognize their achievements. The guide talks about certifications, badges, even gamification. A little friendly competition never hurt anyone.
It taps into that drive to improve.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of motivation, let's rewind a bit to stage 4, motivate. We've got these trained partners. How do you keep that momentum going?
You've got to understand what makes them tick. What are their goals, their pain points?
Okay, so really understanding their business.
Yeah. If you can align your program with their ambitions, that's where the magic happens.
It's a true partnership then.
Exactly. Not just a transaction.
So stage 2, engage plan. This is where the guide says things can really make it or break it.
Yeah, this is a critical stage.
They say if a partner isn't marketing and selling within 90 days, they probably never will.
It's about harnessing that initial enthusiasm. You've got to strike while the iron's hot.
So what makes a good engagement plan in this context?
The guide calls them rules of engagement. Basically, it's like a mini agreement, lays out all the expectations.
I like it, transparency from day 1.
It prevents misunderstandings down the line.
Yeah, okay. Stage 5, sell promote. Now it's time to close some deals, right?
Time to put all that training into action.
That's the training focus on at this point.
The guide breaks it down into 3 areas: technical, industry knowledge, and sales skills.
Makes sense. So it's giving them everything they need to confidently run the whole sales process.
Absolutely.
How do you make sure nothing falls through the cracks?
Documentation is key.
Always.
A good training plan that's written down, reviewed regularly, adjusted as needed. That's how you keep everyone on the same page.
Shared roadmap. Okay, last stage. Stage 6, monitor. How do you know if all this training is actually working?
Data. You've got to measure, measure, measure.
What are you measuring?
Are partners hitting their sales targets? Are deals closing faster? Are customers happy? Those are the kinds of questions you should be asking.
It's about letting the data guide your decisions.
100%. And the guide, it even offers a template for a training plan.
Oh, nice.
So you can plug in your specific goals, your metrics.
It's like a cheat sheet.
Exactly. It makes it so much easier to get started and track your progress.
That's awesome.
It really is. It's all about taking action, learning as you go, and adapting to the ever-changing market.
I love it. We've covered a lot. Different types of partners, how to build a training program you can actually measure. But this guide, they keep coming back to this idea of You got to stay flexible. Things change fast, right?
All the time. What works today is old news tomorrow. This guide, they're big on building a culture of like always improving, not just with your team, but with the whole partner ecosystem.
It's not just, hey, here's the new software update, learn it. It's more like always be learning.
Yeah, foster that mindset. That's how you stay ahead.
How do you actually do that, though? Encourage your partners to think that way.
You got to know what makes them tick. What are they struggling with? What are their competitors doing?
So really understanding their business, their challenges.
If you're in tune with that, you can tailor your training to meet their needs, even as those needs change.
Like you're both on the front lines together, figuring it out as you go.
Exactly. A good training program, it becomes a huge advantage when everyone's on the same page.
Makes sense. This guide, it also mentions this thing, a fully managed LMS system. Can you explain that? Not everyone's familiar.
Think of it like this. You've got an entire team of learning and development experts, but they're not on your payroll.
Okay, that's interesting.
You get the technology, the content, the support, even the data analysis, all taken care of.
So you're basically outsourcing the whole training thing to the experts.
Exactly. And that frees you up to focus on, the big picture, the strategy, the relationships.
That's huge for businesses that maybe don't have those resources in-house.
For sure. It levels the playing field.
But even with that, you still need to know what you're doing. You need a strategy for the training itself, right?
Absolutely. Technology is just a tool. You still need to define your goals, your audience, how you're going to measure success.
This is where, again, that emphasis on documentation comes in. You need to track everything, make sure it's working.
And be ready to adjust. Constantly. The market doesn't wait for anyone.
So it's a cycle. Always improving, always refining.
That's how you create the best learning experience for your partners.
We talked about this earlier, but I want to circle back. Building a true partnership, not just a transaction. Why is that so important?
Because that's where the real magic happens. When everyone feels valued, respected.
It's not just about contracts and numbers, it's about the relationship.
And that takes time, effort. You can't force it. But when it clicks, when you have that mutual respect,
it changes everything. So we've talked about building these relationships, creating this training program, but how do you know what's actually working? How do you measure success with a channel partner program?
it's a good question. And it's not always straightforward. I mean, revenue's important, for sure. That's the bottom line, right? But it's not the whole picture.
Right. So what else are we looking at? If it's not just about the money.
Think of it like you're gardening. You can just, scatter seeds and hope something takes root. Or you can really cultivate the soil, nurture those seeds.
Okay, I like that analogy. So how do you garden a partner program?
Partner satisfaction, that's a big one. Are your partners happy? Do they feel valued, supported?
Makes sense. Happy partners, they're going to stick around.
Exactly. Retention rate, that's another measure. High churn, that's a red flag. Means something's not working.
It's like any relationship. You want it to be mutually beneficial.
Absolutely. When both sides are winning, everyone's motivated to make it work.
It creates this upward spiral. Everyone's succeeding together.
And that's what it's all about, right? Building something sustainable, something that creates value for everyone involved, the business, the partners, even the customers down the line.
It's bigger than just, checking boxes on a to-do list.
Way bigger. It's about building something meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And this guide, it gives you the tools to do that.
Well, this has been fantastic. You've given us so much to think about.
My pleasure. I'm always happy to talk shop.
And for our listeners, we'll link to the guide in the show notes. It's definitely worth a read.
Tons of great advice in there and a real-world examples.
Awesome. Well, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with another topic, another deep dive. Until then, keep those questions coming.